Guys, this is the fs-i6 Flysky remote that we got, and we're going to be adding this spring kit into it. Stay tuned. Hey guys, Flysky i6 two-way remote, 6-channel remote. I'm sorry. This is what it looks like. Pull it out. See what else comes with. Just basically a cheap little manual. It doesn't really tell you much when it comes to like your positive and your negative on the receiver itself. But anyway, here's the receiver here, the bind plug, and then we got the transmitter right here. If you notice, these all swing back to their center. This only swings back on this channel. Just stays up and down, you know, you can move it here and there. We're going to fix that so it springs just like this one here all the way around. Stay tuned. Guys, so after you pull these 4 Phillips head screws out of there, you can pop this thing open, and you gotta just kind of work it back and forth so that it all unclamps, you know, just like that. You be very careful when you fold this over that you unplug these wires here. These could be kind of tricky. Just wiggle them, pull them out like that. Set that aside. And when you do this, use the original packaging that comes with it. It works pretty good. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to pull these 4 screws off of here on this stick. So we pull these 4 off of here, and then we'll pull these 2 off of here, and then we'll pop this whole thing out, unplug it, so we don't damage nothing, and then we'll put that spring kit in there. Alright, stay tuned. You guys, back here with the Flysky. So basically, like I said, we're going to fix this. You see I unplugged it, pulled out all the screws, pulled off the 2 screws here with that metal brace. Basically we're going to do the same thing like what's going on here with the spring. We're going to add this in, the spring, the screw, and the 2 pins, and then the plastic arm, but over here on this side. So basically you could wiggle these off a little bit. Once you get them popped off, just kind of be slow with them, and you could pop this off here and try to get it straight like that, and then pop it off. We lost one there, but they only go on one way, so as long as you keep this for this side and that for that side. Go ahead and get that out of there. So now we got this going here. Okay, make sure we get this the way it's supposed to be. Like I said, it only goes one way. So once you figure that out, then what we're going to do here is we're going to put a pin in that hole, and we're going to put a pin in that hole right there. I'm sorry. Right there. Pin and a pin. So you take these. You can kind of push them in there with your hand. They could be kind of tricky. Not much light here. I'm sorry. Once you get them to go. So just like that, you press these pins in those 2 holes. Don't push them in all the way. Basically this is going to sit like this, so as long as you're covering that, you know, then you're good. We got the spring on here, as you can see. Just pop that on there, and then we're going to set it right into that little channel. Okay, Now we could go ahead and put this bad boy back on. Alright, so what you're gonna do, you want to put your mount back on however it goes, not like that. Okay, you get your mount back on, and then you're gonna pop this back in there just like that. And you're gonna get your other mount, put it back on, and then you're gonna go ahead and realign everything, set it back in, make sure it turns, you know, it's not getting jammed up. Then you could go ahead and tighten up these screws, put these screws back on these four corners here, tighten those down, and then we'll be able to stretch that spring up and put the next piece in. Now that we got this all done, we got it all bolted down. Make sure that it swivels right. Okay, nothing holding it back. Go ahead and plug this back in. Yeah, and it only goes one way, of course, so make sure you plug that back in how it's supposed to go. You have to hold on the back side of it, of course, and break the damn board. So yeah, that's all plugged in. Now you can see our spring probably right in here, just sitting there. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and take our next piece. Okay, that little guy right there, and we're gonna put it in there, put our screw in. Gonna go ahead and make sure it's straight, tighten it down. Now some of these, if it gets tight right away, you want to screw it in and then back it out a little bit, you know, once it gets tight, and then screw it in again, you know, just slowly work them threads in to where they're supposed to be, just like that. And you can see it kind of just pops in and out, so make sure that you try to push this down while you're screwing it in. That way it could actually grab. Okay, just like that. Now I'm going to take this pick here. I'm going to see if I could do this. Sometimes it's kind of tricky. And get this just like that. Oh, and we just lost it. Use one of these magnetic screwdrivers and it'll make life a little simpler. So let's try this again. We're gonna go ahead and we got it connected on the bottom side, hopefully. We're gonna go ahead and this thing's magnetic now. It might make it harder than what we want it to be. So you just pop that spring on there. You don't want to lose it. That little guy will disappear in a heartbeat. You just make sure that it springs back how it's supposed to. Spring back to center. That's what we want, center. Just like that. If it's a little stiff, you can loosen up these 4 bolts here. I don't think they might give you just a little bit, you know, more. They're not smashing plastic on plastic, you know, so it might make it a little easier. Just kind of work it in. Once you got that all said and done, you can go ahead and get this all put back together now. So we're just going to go ahead and plug these wires all back in. Sorry if you could barely see me. I'm going to plug these guys back in here. Power wire. Okay. And then our data wires. Just like that. Make sure they're plugged in real good. And you can pop your cover back on. Make sure there's nothing that's going to get smashed when you put this thing back together. And to start, start up here at the top and kind of just line everything up, and then work your way down. It seems to they slide into each other up top, and then everything else comes after. So now that's all tight. Go ahead and put these 4 screws back in, and now we'll turn it on, see what we got. Guys, so here it is, all done. Springs back, center, just like the others. You know, that's what we want. So we'll fire it up here, and you have to hold that down, and it'll, as long as all of your switches are in the up position, safe to fly as they would call it, you just pull this down and it'll stop beeping and it'll unlock the remote. So stay tuned. Thanks again.